Hi guys, I'm very excited about today's video. I'm talking about Marc-Antoine Barrois Fragrances, an exciting house, a niche house. Maybe not a niche house, it's a designer house because Marc-Antoine Barrois is a couturier. He makes men's clothing. But there's 4 fragrances in the collection and I'm doing a ranked list. So my favorite is at number 1, least favorite is at number 4. But I should say the entire collection is a really great collection of fragrances. Every single one of the fragrances created by Quentin Bisch, perfumer. Are you a fan of Quentin Bisch fragrances? Are you a fan of Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrances? But the good thing is, not only am I doing a review and ranking the list, I will be cutting to a little segment of Marc-Antoine Barrois talking about each of his fragrances. So if you're curious to learn about Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrances. I discovered Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrances back in 2017 in Lisbon. There's a niche perfume shop there in Lisbon, and there it's run by this really great, nice guy. Very, very nice guy. I've met him many times at various perfume fairs and things. And I discovered B-683 there for the first time, and I said to myself, wow, I've never heard of this brand, but they only have one fragrance, which is kind of cool that a fragrance brand is launching with one fragrance. But you know, most of the time brands launch with like not only 3 or 5 or 6 or 7, but I was quite impressed that Marc-Antoine Barrois launched with just one. But now there's a total of 4 fragrances. There's 3 original fragrances and there's an extract version, and I've got every single one of these fragrances here ranked, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. But before I do though, if you don't know, are unaware, the fragrances are sold at ZGO Perfumery here in San Francisco, and they do ship all over the USA as well. And I always talk about ZGO Perfumery because I really love going there. They have a really great collection of fragrances. So if you're ever in San Francisco and you want to go perfume shopping, definitely head over to the Castro and go shopping there because they have tons of, you know, great niche perfumery selection. And also, they do have a discount code which usually doesn't work on everything, but it does work on this collection, and I have all that information in the info box. I have a link to the perfume shop there, ZGO, or I have links to each of the fragrances in the info box as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I do have to say, I originally had this fragrance at number 3, but I moved it up to number 4 just before shooting it. So we're starting off with Encelade. Encelade is the latest fragrance from Marc-Antoine Barrois. If you haven't caught my review, go catch it. I was able to visit the new perfume shop, a very nice looking, really small perfume shop in an arcade in Paris. If you're ever going there, go there as well. It's really beautiful. I think I might have put some clips in the video that I aired, or maybe I Instagrammed about it. But either way, Encelade launched in 2022. Once again, it's Quentin Bisch, the perfumer. It features notes of rhubarb, vetiver, Atlas cedar, tonka beans, Australian sandalwood. So this is a ultra masculine fragrance to me. At least it leans masculine because of the notes, but there's that rhubarb that comes in to give it like this freshness. And I feel like some of the other fragrances in this list do feature violet leaves, and this to me, and they're not using violet leaves this time, they're using this kind of fruity vegetal note of rhubarb. So it kind of acts similar to me because it kind of has a similar experience. Violet leaves sometimes do smell like apples to me. Here, they've got a kind of a fruity berry-like quality, of course the vegetal quality as well. But for me, this is a compliment getter because I wore this throughout France and Italy, and I received multiple compliments, and it's funny, the people that complimented said, you're wearing a vetiver, aren't you? So this definitely has a very prominent leather note. It's uber woody and earthy as well, and of course that rhubarb kind of freshens things up in here. But to me, I also get a leather. There's definitely a leathery experience here in this particular fragrance, which is quite nice. You can accomplish leathery experience in a fragrance without using the note of leather, or maybe they are using an accord of leather or created with multiple notes together. But it's uber woody, very, very woody here, very, very spicy, and it has aromatic qualities as well. And then of course there's this earthiness. There's definitely an earthiness here from that vetiver note, but along the way you do get some grassiness, definitely has some powdery touches, and a little nutty. There's definitely something nutty that comes up in here, like walnuts or something. So it has some sweetness and green touches as well. It's a great scent. I just moved it up because I really love the other collection of fragrances. This to me seems like completely different than the rest I'm going to talk to you about, and I feel like the rest of the 3 are somehow connected together. This one is a new fragrance, like a new journey or something. Either way, it's Encelade from 2022 at number 4.
And last perfume I did was the launch we did last month is Encelade. Encelade, once again, it's as the three other one. The most aim is to do something beautiful. So that's what we do. We do beautiful, exceptional fragrance. We always try to do it sincere. I like to say it's exceptional, sincere, and respectful. So it's with all our sincerity. We spend lots of time. We don't do a launch every 3 months. This took 3 years, but we created a perfume that really is, to our heart, Quentin Bisch and high, something that is really, really interesting and it's powerful, sensual. It's another story, another imaginary planet, another imaginary world. Encelade in the Greek mythology is a giant that is buried under the Etna volcano, and this one is something that is volcanic, something that is erupting. It's just erupting green lava in jungle. It's very green. Well, it starts greeny and it goes into luxurious woody notes. So you got the rhubarb at the beginning, then you got the Vetiver, the Sandalwood and Cedar and Tonka bean. So it's really beautiful. Again, it's for different people from Ganymede. It's not the same thing, not the same story. It's another story, but a beautiful addition to the range, and it really makes the total range something we are very proud of.
Moving on to number 3, this is the fragrance that started it all with this fragrance house. This is B-683, and as I said, I discovered this in Lisbon. Oh man, it's a great fragrance. This, to me, along with Ganymede, feel like they're definitely related, like they're connected. Like this could be the older, more classy brother of a more young, kind of a little more playful Ganymede kind of a thing. Does that make sense? But this features notes of saffron, violet leaves, nutmeg, black pepper, chili pepper, musk, labdanum, ambroxan, patchouli, amber, sandalwood. It's, once again, very masculine leaning, and I think all the notes seem to have a very masculine edge to them, but there's that violet leaves note that comes in to freshen things up, to give it a little bit of there's something appley in here. Like violet leaves to me do sometimes smell like apples. At least it has that kind of fresh juiciness that the apples have. I get from violet leaves. There's definitely a very fresh, watery experience with it. It also gives the very dense fragrance, because it's very dense and woody and earthy. It gives it a lightness, a lift a little bit too. But you do have some warm, spicy touches here. Definitely ambery, dry down. Of course, it's very ozonic from the violet leaves. And of course, there's a little bit of a leatheriness in here too. I feel like leather runs throughout the whole entire collection, and it's definitely solid. This is a great scent, very masculine. This is B-683 from the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois, the very first fragrance that was launched in 2016, and that is at number 3.
So B-683 is my first perfume. I created it with perfumer Quentin Bisch. We really wanted to create our own best perfume, something quite classical, something bit surprising, but not much, really elegant, refined and subtle. We had the thought with this of doing something, a beautiful perfume like we would have, like our grandparents would have, or something like it from the past, but twisted in a new era. And it's, in a way, it's my first olfactive planet. It's my first olfactive world, totally imaginary. B-683 comes from the book of the Little Prince, B-612. It's the asteroid where the Little Prince by Saint-Exupéry lives, and I made it my own planet. I'm born October 683, so it was B-683 creating my own creative planet. Today it became a really great classical perfume. It's a signature perfume. It's my signature perfume. I'm wearing it for over 6 years now. It's like just perfect as it is. It's refined. It's not too powerful, but still it has a trail, and it's lasting at least a day. So for me, it's my favorite perfume still. Okay,
so now at number 2, we're talking about B-683 Extract. This is a bad boy. This is a very explosive fragrance, very long lasting, intense. If you thought that this was the the more, the older brother, the sophisticated brother. This is the even older, more hairier, dirtier, muskier kind of a brother of B-683, if that makes sense. Because this is definitely got an animalic edge to it, so you've got to be into it. For me, it's almost like earthy dirt along with animalic dirt together. So there's a roughness about it here, very, very rough. But B-683 extract features notes of oud, safraline, which is saffron, violet leaf absolute, green apple, sandalwood, patchouli, pink pepper, cumin, and vanilla. Yes, not only do you have the animalic touches here, you also have that cumin, so it acts a little sweaty, a little spicy as well. It's got major spiciness, but it's definitely woody here, just like the last fragrance and the previous one, and then of course also woody as well. It does eventually become warm and spicy in the dry down when it's drying down, but it you have the fruitiness and the ozonic touches, and of course the musky sweatiness and earthiness as well. Really, really great fragrance, really explosive, as I was mentioning on Instagram recently, and it's a great smell. I really love it. And animalic fragrances, you might think this is way animalic. I can tolerate this, but there are some animalic fragrances that I have a hard time with. Here, I really love it. It smells really, really great. But some can be going into that department of animalics that I quite don't like. But here, I really do appreciate it, because I think you have this nice balancing act of the dense notes, the animalic notes, with the very, very juicy green apple, and then of course the freshness from the violet leaves, ozonic qualities. A great scent. B-683 extract or extrait is at number 2.
So after Ganymede, we did the extrait of B-683. The extrait of B-683, it's in a way the tuxedo of my collection. It starts with oud and green apple. It's something that is really powerful, very animalic and very wild, but in a mean way. It's still very elegant, very powerful. It's super great. For me, it's a great thing to wear after B-683 during the day, but there are some clients that are super fan of it for every day. It's just depends. Every of my planets, every of my imaginary world are meant to be for one specific person or for different person. It's all meant to be signature perfume, so it can be worn as it is. It's still very animalic, it's very leathery, but it's super good. It's really well concentrated with 40%. It's very interesting.
And you guessed it, number 1, probably everyone's favorite fragrance from this house. Is it your favorite fragrance? This is Ganymede from 2019. So Ganymede is on another level. It's such a great scent. To me, it's a leathery, minerally, fruity, ozonic fragrance experience. They mention suede leather here along with violet, mandarin orange, saffron, osmanthus, and akigala wood. So they are mentioning violet, and violet to me smells different compared to the violet leaves. And everything else we've had violet leaves except for the Encelade, and I feel like this is also violet leaves. I don't get the violet flower experience here. And violet leaves are really, really great. It smells really great. And I mentioned it already, but there's definitely this freshness about it. Here, I feel like it's definitely an easier fragrance to wear. And I feel like from the rest of the collection, this is the most unisex. But I like its leathery qualities. It's a suede leather, it's a soft leather, but you also have lots of experiences of buttery, soft experience, like a buttery richness in this particular fragrance. Along with the mandarin orange, which adds this kind of sweet citrusy touch. The saffron comes in as well to accentuate the spiciness and then the leathery experience. The osmanthus adds fruitiness in here, and I feel like they've left off the appley note in here, because there's definitely a little bit of an appley crispness in the background. Perhaps it's from the violet leaves with the osmanthus together. Along with akigala wood, which is like, I think akigala wood has a patchouli, like a clean patchouli experience, and that completes the fragrance to make for a wonderful, wonderful wearing experience. Really great. It has musky qualities, fruity qualities, and of course grassy and earthy, leafy experience as well here. Such a delight to wear. I should say it's kind of like a masterpiece. It's just a very popular release, and it really smells great when I wear it as well. So Ganymede is at number 1 from the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to cut to the last remaining clip of Marc-Antoine Barrois talking about Ganymede, and then come back and wrap up.
After B-683, we created another fragrance called Ganymede. We took 3 years to work on this one, and the idea was to create another imaginary world, another planet, another imaginary planet that would be different from it, something very clean, something very unique, and very very mineral and very fresh. It starts with the mandarin, it goes into immortal with always the same leather signature in the middle, but this one is softened by osmanthus. I forgot to say with B-683 that it's leathery, woody, spicy fragrance. So this one takes the same heart of DNA, but it's another character, another type of planet. This one would be an ocean, would be covered by oceans of seawater. Something like, in my imagination, would be something very clean and innocent, something a perfect beauty. It takes the name Ganymede, comes from the Greek mythology, where Ganymede is the most beautiful man on earth. So it really is this idea of something a perfect beauty. It's an everyday wear, something you can wear anytime, and really, well, I'm super proud of it too. It won like 3 Fifis in 2020. It's a super great perfume.
And that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching today's video with me talking about each of the Marc-Antoine Barrois fragrances, and of course Marc-Antoine Barrois talking about his fragrances as well. Which one sounds great to you if you don't know any of the fragrances yet and you haven't smelled them? And which one is a favorite of yours if you already know the collection? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. Other than that, I hope you get to try fragrances at ZGO Perfumery. As I said, if you ever visit San Francisco, go visit at the store. They're very nice folks that work there. Or you can check out their fragrances online, and all the information for these fragrances and their store is in the info box. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.